Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry, 24/7 shopping available. 160920 is the code. Show her some love, like she showed us. K&A Custom Crafts on Facebook.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. I am Aces on the case, and of course, I am joined tonight by none other than the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Big B, and then, of course, I'm also with J-Mac, the bearded one. How you doing tonight?
Not bad, not bad.
No, doing good. Just got through a rainstorm here, so.
Oh, I can imagine how bad rainstorms are going right now.
Hopefully it cools it off. It's been a good 95 to 100 degrees last few days, so.
You know, it's actually been kind of warm around here also. But before we jump into our topics, we also know that every Wednesday, we cover a top 5 quarterback list of a certain NFL team. Did you guys realize that we only have 2 left? We are seriously down to 2 teams left. And they're both in the AFC West. And, of course, the team that we're going to talk about tonight is the Chargers. You can say the San Diego Chargers, the LA Chargers, whichever one you want. It doesn't matter. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about our top 5 Chargers quarterbacks of all time. And Big B, since I know you always like that privilege and the pleasure of going first and talking about your top 5 list, go ahead and jump into it and tell me, what is your top 5?
Well, it wasn't really hard, I don't think. I think we all got 1 and 2 probably a lock. Everything else was kind of like who's in, who's out kind of thing for me, at least. So, number 5, I'm going to go with Drew Brees. I know he only spent a few seasons there, but he put up a winning record, 12,000 plus passing yards, 80 touchdowns, and 53 interceptions. Didn't really have them go up any higher. In fact, that they didn't make the playoffs. So, I know it's not just his fault, but he's at number 5. Number 4 is Dan Humphries. The man, 47-29, 16,000 yards, 85 and 73 touchdowns, interceptions and touchdowns and interceptions, sorry. And he was 3-3 in the playoffs, so that's pretty much the reason why I put him ahead of Breeze. Number 3, John Hattie, 5-time Pro Bowler, 59, 54, and 9 record. Last few weeks we've had a lot of ties with these older quarterbacks. 26,938 yards passing, 201 touchdowns, 211 interceptions. So pretty much every time he threw a touchdown, he threw a pick, and 1 AFL championship. And then number 4, Dan Fouts. I don't think going to argue too much. 6-time Pro Bowler, 86 and 84 with 1 tie, 43,000 yards, 254 touchdowns to 242 interceptions. And then he was also 3-4 in the playoffs. And then Phillip Rivers, to me, is a no-doubter. Definitely going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, in my opinion. 8-time Pro Bowler, 123 and a 101 record, 59,000 yards passing, 397 touchdowns to 198 interceptions, and he was 5-6 in the playoffs. So that is my top 5 right there.
All right, J-Mac, this one jumps to you. Who is your top 5 Chargers of all time? I almost said San Diego, but it's not just San Diego. It's also
we can't call them San Diego Chargers anymore, or not just San Diego. We could say, they started in San Diego and now they're in LA. The Movers, yeah. Man, this was a pretty easy as far as I think the top couple of guys for me. I'll say that the 4 and 5 could almost be a couple of different names, and so I got number 5. Like, I started just throwing some names out there, to be honest. I don't have Drew Brees on my list. He probably should be on the list, but whatever. I'll say that he should be, but he's not. So number 5, I actually had Stan Humphries at number 5. He led them to the Super Bowl in '94, where they got destroyed by San Francisco.
Right.
Let's remember that they got destroyed by San Francisco. So
I was trying to remember what year that was.
It was '94, and they lost 49-23.
Was it like 21-0 at halftime or something?
Yeah, something like
Isn't
that.
Where Owens, didn't he catch like a big bomb to start the game off?
Yep. That
like
was
that,
pretty.
Yeah.
they got destroyed. So
they did.
Anyway, number 4 for me was I believe you mentioned him, John Hadle.
Yeah, Hadle.
Hadle. I don't know how you say his name, but yeah, he was on there. He was good there for a while for them. So number 3, and this is where we're probably going to be a little different, but I have Jack Kemp at number 3. He was only there 2 seasons. He started in another season he was there, but the caliber of player he was, I think, brought a lot to the Chargers. So I have Jack Kemp there at 3. Number 2, I so wanted to not put this guy at number 2, but I can't deny it. The pride of Oregon, by the way, probably the best quarterback to come out of Oregon so far was Dan Fouts. And he had Lance Allworth at the all-world receiver. Or was he a tight end? I don't know, one of the two. Lance Allworth. He had Kellen Winslow there for a while. They had a pretty good team back then. Too bad they couldn't turn it into a Super Bowl championship, but we could say that about number 1, Phillip Rivers. Guys he had on his team. I mean, you talk about a guy that had we could list off the players he had in his career, and they couldn't put it all together. Unreal. So Phillip Rivers, definitely number 1. He'll be a Hall of Famer. So that's my list.
All right, so when we talk about, the top 5 Chargers of all time, pretty much I have similar to the same list as you guys, but I kind of wanted to touch on, a few of the guys that, you guys had on your top 5 list too. So, we can jump into, of course, the whole Drew Brees at this point in time so let's talk about Drew Brees, and we can talk about what would have been. What would have been if he would have stayed with the Chargers? So we all have him on our top 5 list. He's there.
J-Mac didn't.
Oh, correct. J-Mac did not. J-Mac did not. Big B, you did. I also had Drew Brees at number 5. But what could have been if Drew Brees would have stayed? So let me ask you guys this. Where do you think, if Drew Brees would have stayed with the Chargers, how far do you think he would have moved up this list? Or do you even think he would have been the same quarterback that he was with the Saints?
I don't. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off, Big B, but I don't. I don't think he'd been the same quarterback because he went to New Orleans, and Sean Payton is a genius. And he wouldn't have had Sean Payton if he stayed in with the Chargers. The problem with Chargers, they had Marty Schottenheimer for a long time. Mm-hmm. Great regular season coach, horrible playoff coach. Couldn't get over the hump to take him to the Super Bowl. And then after that, they just had a revolving door of coaches. And that was really what hurt them and Phillip Rivers to ever get to the Super Bowl. So would it have been the same thing? It probably would have been if Brees stayed, and I don't think he'd be the same player.
I don't know. I just feel like the one thing that I feel like is that if Drew Brees stayed with the Chargers, I kind of feel like the Chargers would have got over that hump. I feel like the Chargers might have actually won a Super Bowl with Drew Brees, because look at some of the teams that they've had. There was a few years to where the Chargers went 14-2, went 13-3. They had really good teams. You know, they had LaDainian Tomlinson and Vincent Jackson, and Antonio Gates for, you know, several years. So they actually had a good team. So when you look at all these players that they had and the success that Drew Brees had in his career, yeah, obviously some of the success he had dealt with the coach he had in Sean Payton, because I completely agree with you. Sean Payton was he's a brilliant coach. Sean Payton is definitely one of those coaches right now that maybe people don't consider him a top 5 coach, but you need to. You definitely need to consider Sean Payton in the NFL currently right now a top 5 coach because of what he's done. Now, personally, like I was saying, I think Drew Brees would definitely be higher on this list. Had he stayed there, he would definitely be sitting around maybe 1 or 2. And where would Phillip Rivers be? We don't even know where Phillip Rivers would be at this point, because they technically replaced Drew Brees for Phillip Rivers. So if Drew Brees stays, what happens to Phillip Rivers? And
Yeah,
Big B, go ahead.
I'm with you, Ace. I mean, J-Mac makes good points too. I don't think Drew Brees is Drew Brees that we know of today. If he stays in San Diego, he probably puts up, you know, Phillip Rivers stats. But like you said, you know, we don't know if he would have took him to the Super Bowl, got that ring there. I mean, that's one thing with sports. There's a lot of what ifs. What if this happened? What if that happened? And like you said too, where would Phillip Rivers be? Or not? Yeah, Phillip Rivers. You know, would he have, you know, been the guy in, you know, to lead the Saints? You know, if they would have stuck with Brees and been like, you know what, we're gonna stick with Brees and we're gonna get rid of Phillip Rivers. So there's a lot of, but I think if he stayed there, played his whole career there like he did in New Orleans, and put up, you know, average numbers, not Drew Brees numbers, yeah, he's probably 3 at the lowest, maybe 2. If he gets that ring, he's probably number 1. So I think he definitely moves up if he stayed a Charger.
And for me, you know, it was really hard to put. I didn't want to put Phillip Rivers at number 1. No. I just couldn't do it. And look, I totally respect the guy. I know what he did with the Chargers. I know that, you know, Phillip Rivers should definitely be a Hall of Famer. To a lot of people, that's debatable. I know a lot of people will come out and debate that and say, should Phillip Rivers actually be a Hall of Famer? You know, because some people will be like, well, when you look at the same draft class that Phillip Rivers was in, he was in the same draft class with Roethlisberger and the same draft class with Eli Manning. And they're going to look at Roethlisberger and be like, okay, Roethlisberger won a couple rings. Eli Manning won a couple rings. But we've come out and said multiple times, it's not about how many championships you win. It's not, because to win a championship in Super Bowls and all that, it's definitely a team sport. And so, but personally, I just think that the reason I put Phillip Rivers at number 2 is that because when you think of the San Diego Chargers or the Los Angeles Chargers / I should say San Diego / the first person you think of is Dan Fouts. And so that's why I was like, okay, we got to go ahead and stick him at number 1.
Oh, no.
But overall, that's why I had him at number 1.
I'm not going to get into this debate about the Hall of Fame because of the class he was in.
Yeah.
I mean, who am I picking between the 3 of them? I'll tell you the first one I'm not picking between the 3 of them.
Eli
Manning, and I don't care if he won 2 Super Bowls. It doesn't matter to me. So,
I mean, I'm just looking at some of the all-time football stats right now, and you know, Rivers outranks both of them right now.
He's top. He's what, top 15 in everything in his career?
Yeah, roughly. And yeah, so I mean, outside of maybe passer rating, but passing yards and all that, he's definitely above Manning and Roethlisberger. So you're going to say the one knock on his resume is going to be no Super Bowls.
No, that's not what I was going to say on that. What I was going to say, the one knock on Phillip Rivers, to me, so think about if a game is on the line for Phillip Rivers, and
Jesus,
you need that, and you have like 2 minutes left in the game or whatever. Phillip Rivers is not like Drew Brees or Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady or Peyton Manning, who's going to sit there and try and check it down to make sure that you're getting first downs. Phillip Rivers just likes to always try and go for it all, and it doesn't even matter if it's double or triple coverage, and he likes to throw a lot of picks at the end of the game. That was one knock on Phillip Rivers. And J-Mac, if you have a rebuttal, that's fine. I see you sitting there, you're shaking your head.
Well, I mean, this argument, I'm not saying he didn't throw a lot of picks. Okay, he's thrown a few. Let's face it. Okay, but outside of Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, name another quarterback that's thrown that few interceptions in their career outside of those two guys. And you can't count a guy like Mahomes, who's only been in the league for 4 or 5 years. That's not other than those two guys who has not thrown their fair share of interceptions.
I really think that the only person that would be debated on that one would be Russell Wilson. I think people would come out and say that Russell Wilson doesn't throw a lot of picks. But there are games where Russell Wilson has really, really bad games. He's got like two or three clear games to where he's throwing like 4 or 5 picks in one game at like two or three times.
And so that's my point. And I'm not saying you're wrong with what you're saying about throwing the ball down or checking it down. But my only point is until Brady and Rodgers came in, it was play quarterback. You go out there and throw an interception, you forget about it, you go out the next drive. And so really outside of those two guys, every quarterback has thrown their fair share of interceptions, and it was never even a debate until that happened. You're never in this league, I'm sorry, but you're never going to find another guy in the history of the league that's going to go throw 400 touchdowns and less than 100 interceptions. It's not going to happen. No. That's insane numbers. Rodgers has done that. I understand that, but
he's the only person that's done it.
We can't compare everybody to Rodgers. We just can't because he's the only one who's ever done it. He's probably the only one that's ever going to do it. Even Mahomes throws some picks. But do we hear everyone out here saying, oh, yeah, I mean, Mahomes, but there's the interception thing. Like, it's just outside of those two guys, everyone does it. And so I get it, but I don't think that keeps him out of the Hall of Fame, I guess is my whole point. Like, I don't think that should keep him out of the Hall of Fame because he threw the ball long and took some chances. That's all I would say.
He'll be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
He'll be in the Hall of Fame. I'm not saying that he's not. He'll be there. I'm just saying that a lot of people, one thing that I've always heard about Phillip Rivers when people are talking is that people say this is the problem with Phillip Rivers. He's not the guy that's going to sit there and check it down. He's going to always make that stupid mistake at the end of the game. That was typical Phillip Rivers.
And it was. But I'll tell you what, the guy also had mad respect from me when he played that last drive in the AFC Championship game with a torn ACL and had his teammates carrying him from the huddle to the line of scrimmage and throwing the ball. You were not taking him out of that game unless you literally went out there and drug him out on a stretcher. And you got to give him mad respect for that. That and the fact that he didn't miss a game in his entire career. He started every single Sunday up after Drew Brees left. Let me rephrase that. But after Drew Brees left and he started for 17 seasons in a row without missing a game.
So
as we know, there's only been one guy that's done more than that. There's only been one guy in history that's started more games than that in a row at quarterback. So
the Iron Man himself.
Right. So, everyone talks about, and speaking of that, everyone talks about how few starting quarterbacks Green Bay has had since Favre took over in '94. And I get it's not as long, but if you look at Drew Brees to the end of Phillips Rivers' run in as the Chargers quarterback, they had 2 starting quarterbacks since 2001. Mm-hmm. Before this year, that is. I'll rephrase that. Before this year. So everyone talks about Green Bay's great run, but no one talks about how, those two guys started every year for, 18, 19 years with the Chargers. So that's another great run, too. That's another thing to think about, the longevity of how long someone started.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, I've always said that, the Packers having, Rodgers and Favre, trust me, anybody would take that, combo going from one Hall of Fame quarterback to another. And J-Mac, I ain't gonna lie to you. I didn't really think about that either with San Diego or the Chargers going from Drew Brees to Philip Rivers. I didn't kind of put that in the same category either. But I mean, yeah, those two teams to only have two quarterbacks for that amount of time, any team would take that.
Mm-hmm. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and jump into our next topic of the night, which actually might surprise some people, but we're going to talk about Roger Federer and tennis. And knowing that he actually opted out of the French Open, and when he opted out of the French Open, he basically came out and said, look, he understood his body was telling him, you know what? Right now you've done all you could do in this tournament, and you just need to call it quits and opt out at the moment here. So he decided to do that. And now I'm looking at this point going, okay, Roger Federer says his body's telling him, okay, opt out of the French Open. He played a couple rounds, won a couple rounds. In the semifinals, he's like, okay, I'm done. I'm going to opt out. So because he's saying that his body's telling him this, how long do you think that Roger Federer has left to go before he's like, you know what? My body's telling me altogether, I'm done. I can't play anymore. And so, Big B, I'll start with you. Do you think that it was kind of the right call for him to opt out, and how long do you think that he has left?
I don't think he's got much left. I think he's going to probably take time off and try to play the major tournaments, I think, for right now. I mean, we might see him pop in here in a, non-major tournament, I guess, and see what he can do. Yeah, it wouldn't be surprised me if by the end of this tennis season he calls it quits, but if he doesn't, then I just see him just popping up on the major tournaments just to try to bring the name of tennis back, be the name of tennis like he is right now. Yeah, when you posted this, I was kind of shocked. I didn't really hear why he did, but since you said it was his body and, catching up with them and stuff like that, kind of got to give him respect to not go out there and want to put on a poor showing, but, I don't see too much longer.
Yeah, I was gonna say, well, he just came off of two knee operations, and so that's why coming off of that, he's like, you know what, my knees were just telling me, no, man, like you got to stop. Enough is enough. The limit is there, and so it's like, okay, then maybe because his body's telling him that, he just decided to. But J-Mac, we've watched tennis for a very, very long time. We've watched Federer for many years. So, what is your thought on this?
I think Federer's done. Anything major, anyway. I think he'll play a few tournaments. Just keep his game going. But for the most part, I think that it's pretty much over for Roger Federer, and that's unfortunate. We don't want to see that as tennis fans, but it's time. I think it's time, a swan song for him for sure.
Well, you got to think, he's been one of the best in the game for a very, very long time. But he realizes now he can't keep up with Nadal anymore. He can't keep up with Djokovic anymore. He just can't. It's those guys are too good, and Federer's getting old.
It always comes up, when we talk about these guys calling it a career. In the movie Moneyball, there's a saying in there that, everybody's, get told when it's time to quit or, something along the lines. You may not want to do it, but you're told that you can't play no more. So his body's just telling him. So, J-Mac might be right. It might be just time.
Yeah, I'm just saying, don't be surprised if he comes out and says, hey, you know what? This is my final year. This is it. Because I really think that
perfect timing.
Because I think that he will probably end up calling it quits and retiring, because he knows that his body is telling him, no, I can't do it anymore. And you know what? I completely respect that.
Oh yeah.
Like that is definitely something that I completely respect. That when your body's telling you no, you know what? Perfect. It's time to walk away. I've seen so many sports that I've seen all these players playing that they go for too long because they don't know how to say
Yep.
it's time, I'm done. And they continue to play. And then you see them as they continue to go, they have a horrible year. And they kind of make themselves look really, really bad. And everyone's like, you know what? You should have walked away. You should have walked away when you had the chance. But then they come out and say, I didn't leave because I thought that I had one more good year left.
Yeah.
So I totally respect a player when he comes out and says, I know I can't do it anymore.
No, you nailed it on the head, Ace. I mean, yeah, we all want to, when we play sports, we all want to go out on top like Jerome Bettis did, win the Super Bowl in your hometown. I mean, and just sometimes you can't do that. I mean, I made the same decision giving up baseball. Yeah, I enjoy playing it, but I wasn't producing. So, I chose to walk away. And, yeah, I miss it too. But, like you said, the longer you play, you just ruin your legacy. I mean, I'm not saying I have a legacy, but I enjoy playing it.
No,
but
no, and I completely get exactly. And I know City League slow pitch softball is completely different than MLB. But I played slow pitch softball since I was 16 up until I was 30. Okay, so I did it for 14 years, and once I hit the age of 30, I knew. And I know a lot of people playing it for like a lot longer, but because of the sports and stuff that I played when I was younger and in high school, my body took a pounding in sports. And so I know even doing that, once I became a certain age and my body ached, every night when I got home, I'm like, man, I was like, I can't do this anymore. And so that's why I quit and I completely stopped playing. But J-Mac, I don't know if you want to say something else or not.
I'll just say that's why when I play, I tell them I have to pitch, catch, or play first base because, yeah, I'm too old to play third base or center field anymore.
Yeah. I mean, trust me, we all would love to still be in our young age and playing 100%, but life goes on.
It would be nice.
Oh, it would be. I miss those days.
Tim Fielder,
Tim Fielder's saying the Pirates are a slow pitch softball team. Well, technically, if you think about it, they are. They're horrible. But all right. So let's go ahead and jump into our next topic of the evening. And the only reason I did this topic is because we were talking about it, last week, some funny names. So I just wanted to kind of throw a funny topic in there and say, why don't you give me what you guys thought was your top 5 best names that you liked, that you thought was funny or whatever. And so Big B, I'm going to start with you. What names did you really like that you're like, I can't believe this person actually had a name that played professional sports?
Well, I mean, off the bat, Coco Crisp, Milton Bradley, are some of the top 2 that just jump out at me right away. So those 2, oh, there goes Ace. So, but I mean, those 2 really jumped out at me. I mean, I remember their, early 80s or mid 80s, early 90s. There was like a Felix Jose and then a Jose Felix. So you always messed up those names. I mean, so, Rowley Fingers. I mean, there's some classics there. I mean, how about you, J-Mac? What names jump out at you?
Well, I'm glad you asked. Now, some of these, I'll say that some of them I can't say because we're before that time at night when you can actually say some of these words.
Oh, okay.
So there's some that I can't say. The funniest one when I was looking these up that it came up was Richard Pohl, and you can imagine what his nickname was. So that's a pretty funny one.
Homer Bush is always one.
Homer Bush. I remember the ones back in the day when you had players like Boof Bosner. In fact, he played for the Twins.
Oh yeah.
He played for the Twins. Boof Bosner, was one. For me, but the ones that'll always be great to me are like Tim Biakabatuka.
Oh yeah.
Back in the NFL days. Iniafwani Owezeke when he played in the NFL. Kabir Gabaja Biamila. Was a great name.
Yep.
And probably the greatest name ever, though. Let's just face it. The greatest name ever is the old race car driver named Dick Trickle.
Dick Trickle.
Oh yeah.
Well, you cannot forget about the WNBA player Dewana Boner. That was
Dewana Boner.
Dewana Boner. Yes. Dewana Boner.
Yes.
I must have missed that one.
She played for the Phoenix Mercury, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, she was actually a WNBA player. Her name was Dewana Boner.
Yeah.
All right.
So my top 5 list, and
So I'm gonna type the other one I was talking about. You guys keep going, but I'm gonna type the one I was talking about, and you can look it up. And it's a real player, but we can't say it on the air. We might get in some FCC trouble for that one. So I will share it. You guys can have a laugh. I put it in the private chat. It is a real guy from Major League Baseball, and you'll see why I can't say it.
Yes. So we do have. So my top 5 list, when it came to it, I did put Dewana Boner. Now I don't know if you guys remember this baseball player, but his name was actually Stubby Clapp.
Oh, yep.
So Stubby Clapp was also in my top 5. And then World Be Free. World Be Free was actually another player that I like. He played for the Warriors. Now, I know a lot of people are probably thinking about, when Ron Artest changed his name to Meta World Peace. No, I'm actually talking about World Be Free was actually a Warriors player, and that was his name. Have a Look Doob was another name that I like. He actually played soccer. And I'm going to see if you guys remember this Miami Dolphins player. And he went by the name of Atua Amua Amalafala.
Yeah. Everyone just called him Fa. Oh, yeah, Tui. You're right.
Tui. They called him Tui because they're like, I can't sit there and pronounce that name. It's like with Kabir Gabaja Biamila, and everyone just called him KGB because everyone's like, I'm not going to pronounce that name. That's crazy.
Blue Moon Odom, I just came across.
Oh man, there's 2 I just came across that I'm sorry they'll blow everything else away. They're probably the greatest names in sports history. So let's just put them out there.
Okay, go ahead.
Farquhar Fardass.
Oh yeah,
was a rugby player, and the quote behind his name says, "The rugby player who blows away the competition." And then there's Steve Sharts.
Oh yes, I remember that.
Whose pitching method was just a little bit different.
Here's what I just came up: a pro soccer player. Have a Luka Dua.
Have a Luka Dua.
Yeah. There's some good ones out there. I mean,
very, very good one. So there is a Japanese basketball player. I take that back about the other 2. This one might beat it. A Japanese basketball player named Yoshii Takashita. So in English, you would say that Yoshi take shita. So I'm just saying.
Well, I can say we all know there's some brilliant names out there. Some brilliant names.
I'm looking up a list here. Would you consider Dick Butkus a weird, crazy name? I mean,
it's probably just because it's butt kiss and dick,
Yeah, that's why they're gonna do that, is because of the butt kiss name. But that's it. But other than that, no, it's not like one of those super funny names that people are gonna find really funny.
I mean, getting off a little bit on the sports, I remember reading a report that meteorologist or weather lady name was Holly Copter. And it's just like, really?
Yeah.
That always gets me when we talk about weird names in.
You know who
TV
might have
and
the best name in the NFL right now, and he's a coach.
Oh, Jim Bob Cooter.
Jim Bob
stuff.
Cooter.
Cooter. Yeah, sounds
Jim
like
Bob
a Texas
Cooter.
name or something. Down
Oh, you
south
know
there.
he's from Texas.
Oh yeah.
Who else? Who other than a Texan would name their? Who would? I mean, come on. Who else would name? Who else would name their kid Jim Bob when their last name's
Well,
Cooter?
I mean, honestly, we could talk about the girls.
I'm surprised. You know what? I bet Jim Bob has a sister, and her name is Ima. Okay. I bet. I just
I
bet.
mean, but honestly, I mean, the college softball player that just pitched that no-hitter or the perfect game the other day, Montana Fouts. I mean, go after two iconic sports names right there. I mean, but no, that one is Jim Bob Cooter. Yeah, that's a pretty good one too.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh,
so
J-Mac.
Before we go,
I'm
so
just
before we
saying.
go too much into detail on the sports names, why don't we go ahead and jump into our next topic before we kind of start running low on time here? Which our next topic, of course, is J-Mac Spotlight Player. So J-Mac, this is
Oh,
all
man.
you today. What is your
Yeah, this is
Spotlight
all me
Player?
today. Well, you know what? Man, after that, I don't know how I'm going to follow that. Thanks, Tim Hooker, Tim Fielder for Fair Hooker. Look at that. See, how am I going to follow that? How am I going to follow that? There's no following that.
Oh man.
Oh man. Boy. Whew. Oh. All right.
That was good. That was a good one, J-Mac.
That was good. Tim Hooker, yeah. Oh, okay.
Oh.
Let's try to follow that up.
Rewind.
Okay. So, when you think of women's sports, what's the first sport that comes to mind? I mean, just if someone said women's sports, what's the
actually,
first one that
there's
comes to
two
mind?
of-
Honestly, I would go with the Olympics coming up, gymnastics. I mean, that's kind of what I always think of, or volleyball.
Volleyball. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I was gonna say I think of WNBA or volleyball.
Okay. Well, I will tell you that the person I picked tonight, and I read the first topic first before I picked this person, because it kind of goes along with our weird name segment, and I thought that would segue into that very well. So she was an Olympian. She made a World Cup debut back in 1992. She retired in 2002. She was an alpine skier. World Championship, she's won gold, silver, and bronze. Olympic Games, she's won gold and silver. She won gold in Nagano in the Super G, and she won silver at Lillehammer in '94 in the downhill. She unfortunately has had some hard times lately.
Oh.
Unfortunately, she's had some hard times lately after, not being in the limelight for a while. But anyone know who I'm talking about yet?
Once you said the hard times, I was thinking Lindsey Vonn. But I know
Not
she's not
Lindsey
doing.
Vonn. But remember, it's kind of stays with the weird name segment.
Oh,
As soon as I say her name, Brandon, you'll remember who she is.
probably.
So she was born in Idaho, in Triumph, Idaho, actually.
And where in Idaho?
Triumph.
Oh, I thought you said Tramp, Idaho. I'm just like, what?
That would have been fun, right?
Oh.
Yeah. Well, so we'll just go with it. Okay,
Yeah.
So it's Peekaboo Street.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, the skier from the 90s. She won the couple of gold medals. She really made women's skiing like what it is.
Yep.
Before Lindsey Vonn, before all the big names came out, she was kind of the biggest one. And unfortunately, she ran into some trouble. There's still debate over the whole thing that happened. She was caring for her father. Her father fell down the stairs, so they don't really know what happened. But she did get charged with 3 counts of domestic abuse. I'm not sure exactly, everything that happened, but that's kind of what she's going through right now. And so, and actually, an update. I'm sorry, I should have read that update. The charges were actually dismissed this last year by a judge because there was no proof that she is the one that caused his fall down the stairs. But again, that is something she had to go through. So that's pretty brutal to go through after you've had such a high profile career. So anyway, Peekaboo Street. She's 50 now. That's got to make you feel old, huh, Brandon? The fact that she's 50 and we watched her in the Olympics.
Yeah, she's only 7 years older than me, so.
Yeah. Kind of crazy. But she is in the National Ski Hall of Fame in 2004. She was inducted in there with rightfully deserved. Again, she did for women's skiing what Jenny Finch did for women's softball, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So
there's always got to be that one icon in each sport, no matter if men's, women's, that's going to do it. So.
Right. Oh, and you know how I like throwing out like obscure things? We always talk about Wayne Gretzky. If you took out all of his goals, he'd still be the all-time leader in points. Well, I read today that if you took out Hank Aaron's home runs all-time in his career, he still would have ended with more hits than Wade Boggs. And Wade Boggs, we know, is a Hall of Famer. So just think about that. Like, even you take out Hank Aaron's home runs, he still has well over 3,100 hits in his career. So he's still a Hall of Famer if he never hits a home run.
Whoa, yeah.
So that's just something to think about. We talk about these guys in the Hall of Fame and all of that. I mean, he's still Hall of Fame worthy at that point.
Exactly.
All right. That's it. That was the Spotlight player, was Peekaboo Street.
Is Ace muted or is he on delay?
I don't know if he's muted or frozen.
I mean, could you have seen, like, growing up and being friends with Peekaboo, be like, hey, Mom, I'm going to go play with Peekaboo. What do you mean going to play Peekaboo? Like, with your brothers or something? No, my friend Peekaboo,
Right?
So
has it would be like, hey, have any of you seen Peekaboo lately? Peekaboo's missing. And be like, what? The hell are you talking about? You're not even making sense. You're telling me your friend Peekaboo is missing? Well, go find him.
That just kind of reminds me of all those prank phone calls on The Simpsons, where Bardo would always call. That would be something. Hey, Peekaboo, is Peekaboo there? Come on, guys, I'm looking for Peekaboo.
Right.
So, Ace, are we back?
I am back. Sorry, I'm actually using a different laptop, but because this was a newer one, but for some reason, this laptop isn't working great, so I'm going to actually have to switch back to my old one before my next show tomorrow. So, okay. But this brings us to our final topic of the night. And I've actually been waiting on this topic because this has been one of my favorite games. We do our little GM game that we have going on here.
Because you're winning.
Well, actually, J-Mac and I have actually been pretty close.
Oh, okay.
We've been close in scores here. But, Brandon, I'm going to go ahead and start out with you. So, break it down division by division and give us points per division and then your total points afterwards.
All right, so got the Baltimore Orioles. They stayed in last, so I got a point there. The Royals in the Central, they stayed in third, so I got 3 points there. The Angels, they stayed in fourth, so I got 2 points there. Now here's where I start dropping a little bit. Phillies went from second to third, so I got 2 points. The Cardinals went from second to third. So I got, I got 3 points for that. So Cardinals also went from second to third. I got 3 points. And then the Colorado Rockies stayed in fourth, so I got 2 points there. So it looks like I got 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 points total right now. So, yeah. So I had 2 teams drop. I had 4 teams stay where they're at. So, yippee.
All right, J-Mac, this is you.
Oh, yeah, you're funny. We'll start in the AL because I actually have some points on that side. The Red Sox are in second, so I got 4. Then I got the freaking Twins. So that's 5.
So you got a point there.
Right. And then I have the Astros, so they're in second. So again, I got 9 points in the AL. So that side's doing okay. And by some saving grace in whatever divine intervention you believe in, I actually got a first place team in the NL, which is the Mets, which just disgusts me, by the way, that I got the Mets of all the first place teams. Because then I got the Pirates, who are 5 games out of 4th place. Okay.
So they're last.
5 games out of 4th place. Like, they're completely last. And then I got the Diamondbacks, who are 4.5 games out of 4th place, below the Rockies, who were supposed to be one of the worst teams in baseball. But no, the team I got stuck with is 4.5 games below them. So if I didn't have the Mets in the NL, man, I wouldn't even want to talk about this segment. I got 7 points, and one of those teams has 5 of them. I have 3 teams. I have 3 teams. 3 teams that have a total of 3 points.
All right.
So
Here goes the guy.
you
that-
have like a total like 16 or 17 points.
I got
16.
16.
So here goes the guy that
16.
rigged it.
Hey, oh yeah, rigging it. Okay, you picked the teams randomly. I didn't rig crap. However, you guys are gonna like how we do the NFL edition. So
Oh,
you guys
okay.
are gonna like it how I've got that set up.
All right.
All right, so let's start out with the American League East. So in the American League East, my team is the New York Yankees. They're currently sitting in 3rd place. So right now they have me 3 points there. They're currently 4.5 games out of 2nd place behind J-Mac's Boston Red Sox.
And
So
they're beating the heck out of
and
the
then
Twins
we
right
know
now.
that Brandon Herrera's Baltimore Orioles. Still, they're still in trouble because they're still 9.5 games behind the 4th place Toronto Blue Jays. All right, so I have 3 points there, and then we'll jump over to the AL Central, and my team is Chicago White Sox. They're currently
go
sitting
figure.
in 1st place, so I have 5 points there. So that's points. They're up by 4 games. So I'm doing okay right now. And then we jump to the AL West. I have the last place Texas Rangers. The last place. Okay, so that's 1 point right there. So I've got a total of 5.
You're ahead
eight.
of you're
So I
ahead
got
of
a total
J-Mac
of
right now
9
by a
points
point.
in the AL. I don't foresee the Texas Rangers being able to jump over anybody.
Hold my beer.
In the AL, yes. Now, we jump to the National League, okay, and this is where it gets kind of rocky, okay? So, starting with
Ace,
the
you're having a
National
really
League,
bad
Ace
delay.
has the 1st place team. Actually, I have the 4th place team with the Miami Marlins. And they're legitimately only a half a game ahead of the Washington Nationals for last place. So, all right, I'm sorry about that. I'm working on it. So we have 2 points. And then I've got the Milwaukee Brewers who are sitting in 2nd place. They're a half game out of 1st place. So that's 4 points right there. So I've got 4 and then 6. And then I've got the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Well, he's got the Los Angeles Dodgers. That's enough
And they're
said on
sitting
that.
what? Third? They're sitting third.
They are third right now, so he's got 9 points on that side too, I think. So he's got the Marlins, which is 2
He's got
points.
18.
18. Figures. He's winning. Let's go figure.
Well, yeah,
it
he
out.
has one last place team. I mean,
But let's talk about this for a minute, Brandon.
Yeah.
Let's talk about. Are you in trouble as the Baltimore Orioles if you have played 61 games? So there's 100 games left in the season,
Yep.
right?
you got to
you're
play
all-
700 ball just to move out of last place, I think.
Yeah, you are 16 games out of first place.
Yeah, you're selling.
60 games into the season.
Yeah, you're
Like
selling.
you're done. You're done.
Yeah, you're selling.
And sorry, Marty joins if you're watching. I'm sorry, man. I know you're a big Baltimore Orioles fan, but I didn't even see Baltimore being this bad. So
Well, I mean, you can say the same about the Twins. I mean, a lot of experts picked them to make the playoff or other possible super or series contenders, and they're sitting 13, 14 out right now, and
Yeah,
just getting
13 out.
throttled and getting throttled by the Yankees. I mean,
but it gets worse. So you want to talk about last place teams? Yeah, you want to talk about last place teams.
Let's talk about last place.
The Arizona Diamondbacks. So wait, let's talk about the NL West first. The NL West, there's 3 teams within 2.5 games of each other for first place. Those teams are the Giants, Dodgers, and Padres.
Oh, you went NL. Okay.
Okay,
got you.
NL.
Oh.
And then if you go to fourth place, you got the Rockies that are 14 games out of first place.
Yep.
And then you're like, oh, it can't be much worse than that.
Oh, sure it can.
Well, then you have the Diamondbacks, who are 19 games out of first place. 19.
Yep.
And they've played 63 games already, and they're 19 games out of first place.
I mean, just think about it. We all laughed at Pittsburgh, thought they were going to be the worst team in baseball, and like you said, Arizona is right there. 20 games or 20 wins. And honestly, I know.
I mean, at least the Pirates are only 11.5 games out of the wild card spot.
And honestly,
Arizona.
right now, I mean, record-wise, yeah, they're better, but I'd say the Twins are right now probably the cream of the crop of the worst teams. I mean, they just can't put nothing together, it seems like, so.
Arizona is already 16.5 games out of the wild card spot.
Yeah, exactly.
60 games into the season. And that
Yeah.
should tell you. I mean, and then you go point differential or run differential.
Oh, yeah, don't even get started on
Arizona's a minus 67. The Pirates are a minus 77. Okay.
that. No, actually, I don't know what your numbers
This is coming into today.
Okay, because I got Arizona at minus 71 and Pirates
Right.
at minus
So-
77.
Yeah,
So-
this was just to start today, so
Oh,
I didn't
okay.
count today in there.
Okay, okay.
And by comparison, the Twins are only
39.
39. So, but this is why other teams are in first place, by the way. The White Sox are a plus 90
Yeah.
in point differential. That's crazy. And the Rays are a plus 77.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. And then you got Houston in second. They're a plus 80 right now. I mean, that's kind of ridiculous. I mean, with Oakland only being a plus 13, you'd think that might have been a little bit reversed.
Houston's going to be in first place. I mean, they're only one game
But
behind,
look
and
at-
they've
but
won
look
8
at-
of their last 10.
Yeah. Well, look at your, back to the West in the NL. Giants plus 74, Dodgers plus 85, Padres plus 67, So,
Well,
I
here's
mean,
the
yeah.
thing. So here's something to look at. I read this on one of the broadcasts the other day. Here was the biggest difference is that you look at the Padres, the Giants, and the Dodgers. Their team ERA average for their bullpen is under 2.
yeah.
You take a team like the Pirates or the Diamondbacks.
Or
I
the
believe
Twins.
that the last time I looked, the Diamondbacks bullpen ERA was 6.35.
Oh yeah.
So that tells you everything. I mean, you have to have a good bullpen to win. It's just the way it is.
Exactly.
And as frustrated as I am with Atlanta, so their starters, Atlanta's starters, have an ERA of 3.11. That's not terrible. That's a pretty good ERA as a team. Their bullpen's ERA is almost 7.
Yeah, there's.
And then that's why they can't win games in the end.
Oh, exactly. Oh, do we all just?
Nope, I'm good. Sorry.
Okay. So yeah, no, you're right. I mean, it's just like in all the sports. I mean, one aspect of the sport, like in football, we all said that defense wins championships. I mean, you can say the same thing about baseball, where pitching late innings wins you the games. I mean, like you said it before we went on. How many times can you sit there and watch Will Smith, blow the game or put you on the seats?
Or even make it on the edge of your seat. I mean, you're talking about a closer that has an ERA of 4.7. That's not good. That's not good. When you have the guy who pitched the 8th inning before him, whose ERA is 1.3, and he's walked one guy all year in 16 innings, why would you turn it over to someone with a 1-run lead?
Analytics. I mean, that's
I
mean, we all know that a lot of these teams, 99% of the teams, I think, go by the analytics to the T. So,
yeah, I agree. It's just crazy. It's just insane.
It is. It is like you said. I mean, you take somebody's bullpen, they're pitching. I mean, just look at DeGrom, one pitcher, and his ERA is .62.
Well, let's talk about that for a minute. So
the
MLB Network put out their rankings of the top 5 pitchers in Major League Baseball.
As of this year or career?
This year. They're saying currently, right now. Right now in MLB, they ranked their top 5 pitchers.
Okay. So
the list went 5 DeGrom, 4 Jacob, 3 J. DeGrom, 2 Jacob Wayne DeGrom, and number 1 Jacob DeGrom.
So MLB is saying that there is not another pitcher,
No. And they're not wrong. I mean, you're talking about a guy with a .62 ERA, and the next closest of relievers and starters or anything is 1.24. Yeah. That's double the ERA. So you're telling me there's anyone that's even close to Jacob DeGrom? There's not.
I mean, just think. I saw a stat projections on DeGrom, and of course, they lay out his runs. And right now, they're only projecting him to give up 13 runs all year and 10 home runs. It's like, are you serious? So for him, So I mean, for him to get back into the 1 point whatever, I mean, you're looking at him giving up like 50 runs the rest of the year to even get him over the 1. So I mean.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's insane to think about. The one thing you could say for the Mets, though, is they don't win his games for some reason. They don't.
He's what, 5-2?
He's 5-2. But beside that, they were saying in his career, in his career starts, the Mets are like 43-68 in his career, in his starts. Like, think about that. That's it. That's just stupid. That's stupid. You got this guy who, like, all you have to do is give him 1 run, and you're probably winning the game.
Well, exactly. I mean, he's had 9-10 starts, and he's 5-2. So that's seven decisions that he's made. What was the score of the 2 losses that he got? Or what was the score even of the other games that he didn't get a decision in when he left the game?
Exactly.
So yeah, it's ridiculous to think that a guy that, if I would have said a guy's pitching a .62 ERA, you're possibly thinking of a closer, or a guy that gets in to see 1 batter a game. But to have a starting pitcher that goes 6 innings consistently, 7, time here and there, and only have a .62 ERA. I mean, that's just, that's Jenny Finch numbers. I mean,
well, right, because by the way, I mean the next closest starter to him, the .124 ERA belongs to a reliever.
Yep.
And then you got a .39 from Mark Melanson in San Diego.
Okay.
And then the next starter that has a good ERA, you have Lance Lynn down in Texas, which is amazing to me. I don't know how has he got a good ERA? God knows.
Yep.
But then, and he's at like 1.68, so you got a complete run difference between number 1 and 2.
Oh yeah. You got a couple of, because what's the all-time record? Ain't it like a 1.1 or something ERA?
I think it's 1.12, and it was put up by, I want to say it was it Sandy Koufax or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. So I mean, you got 2 starting pitchers that are kind of vying for that, and like you said, Lance Lynn. Who would have thought that? I mean, you tell me that DeGrom and Lance Lynn are your top 2 starters right now. At the beginning of the year, I would have said, yeah, I'll take DeGrom. You can have Lance Lynn if you want, but I'm going to beat you every time. So,
yeah, it's crazy. It's just insane. So we are at that hour mark.
Yes, we are.
Ace can't be on here, having technical difficulties. We're sorry for that. He will be back. He'll be back tomorrow with Trey. They will do their show tomorrow. I believe it's called Speak Out. Yep. They will speak out about some different things, and you will see them.
I think they're covering playoffs mostly.
I think so. So they'll speak out about that. They'll speak about LeBron going from 23 to 6 because 6 worked in Miami, so it's going to work in LA.
Yeah, we don't get started on that.
By the way, one more weird stat to end the night with is that this will be the first NBA Finals. I read this again today. It'll be the first NBA Finals since 1998 that doesn't have Shaq, Kobe, Duncan.
Oh, they threw Shaq in this one.
Yeah,
okay.
Curry or LeBron in the finals since 1998. This is the last time we haven't seen one of those 5 guys in the finals. That's crazy. Crazy to think about, isn't it? I mean, so I mean, you and I'm 36. So the last time, that means the last time I haven't seen one of those 5 guys in the finals, I was 14.
Yep, I was graduating high school last time one of those 4 weren't in the NBA finals. So, it's just like, we're going to be talking about that once Tom Brady retires,
Yeah.
Hey, this is the last time we haven't seen Tom Brady in a Super Bowl or in a playoff,
Right.
So, I mean, when it comes to iconic basketball players, love them or hate them, I mean, they're up there for a reason, for stats like this. I know we all have our different opinions on LeBron James, but, I mean, can't discard the talent. I mean, whatever way we feel about him. But, yeah, we're coming up just over that hour mark.
Yep.
So for me, you'll see me again Sunday for trivia. I'm trying to work out with our partners in crime, MI6, to get them on against a couple of our coast-to-coast guys. We'll see if that works. If not, we'll have another episode of Jeopardy. J-Mac, what about you? What we got coming up?
Well, I plan to be on Sunday because actually I don't work this Sunday for the first time in, 5 weeks or whatever it's been now.
Okay.
I appreciate you guys.
I do have a couple of Jeopardy guys ready if need be, but I told them to hold on because we're trying to do the Family Feud style.
Yeah. So you'll see me Friday on the Four Bros Radio Show. Not sure on the time yet. We'll get to you on the time. And Saturday on Sportsminute, and possibly Sunday on the trivia. So we'll see. Anyway, thank you all for watching, listening. We appreciate y'all so much. We couldn't do it without you. And Chris, take us up on out of here. We'll see you all on the other side.
Yep.